that no husband wants, any of this nonsense taking place in their home or courtyard, especially on the weekend. So the only spark of genuine spiritual interest is found in these Philippian women, predominantly Jewish women. So you've got this ladies' Bible study down at the riverbank. I don't know, they're doing an inductive study through the book of Exodus. They're maybe the minor prophets. They're studying the law. They're coming up with more questions than answers. Imagine, here comes a former Pharisee, a man who knew and defended the law of God, but had been redeemed, now a teacher, preacher, missionary who just comes down to the riverbank with Silas and says, "Hey, ladies, do you mind if we sit with you and maybe I can fill in some blanks?" Verse 14, one who heard us was a woman named Lydia from the city of Thyatira, a seller of purple goods, who was a worshiper of God. Here's an Asian who's interested in the God of Israel, which is really remarkable given what we're just told here by Luke. He writes that she had a license to sell goods, and not just any kind of goods, but highly expensive goods, purple fabrics. It took the harvesting of 8,000 shellfish to come up with 1 gram of purple dye. Incredibly expensive. Purple garments were worn by the emperor. Every Roman senator had an outer tunic of white, and it was trimmed with purple cloth. Private citizens showed off their wealth with a scarf of purple, or maybe some garments with splashes of purple included. This is a way of saying we're at the top of the heap. Lydia owns her own supply chain along a primary interstate leading to Rome, where she is brokering deals with the most expensive cloth on the planet. And we're told here, if you caught it, she actually has homes in Thyatira and in Philippi, both major crossroads. If she were living today, she would be the CEO of her own fashion enterprise with homes in LA and New York and more than likely Paris. But in all of this, here she is with a group of Jewish women. She's, we're told, a follower of God. She's denied the polytheism of her culture, and she says, this God of Israel he's real. But I don't have all the questions answered. Verse 14, we're told that God opened her heart to pay attention to what was said by Paul. That's another way of saying God saved her. She believed the gospel delivered as Paul delivered it that day there at the riverbank. God opened her heart to believe. The grace of God apparent in her life. Sometime later, evidently not right away, because by now she's got her staff, servants, family members perhaps involved. Verse 15, after she was baptized and her household as well, she urged us, saying, "If you have judged me to be faithful to the Lord, come to my house and stay." And she prevailed upon us. She's not the kind of woman you say no to. Her house is not only big enough for this missionary party of as many as 4 men. If Timothy's still with him, you have Luke, Paul, and Silas. They'd be left out of a beating that'll come later, probably because they're Gentile.